The most common form of despair is not being who you are. You woke up this morning, checked your phone, got out of bed, made the coffee, answered the emails, nodded in the meeting, laughed at the joke, said you were fine. And somewhere between the second email and the drive home, you realized you felt nothing, not sad, not angry, not overwhelmed, just absent. Something inside you stepped out hours ago and forgot to tell the rest of you. You are still breathing, still functioning, still meeting every obligation, still making it look effortless. But you are not there. Not really. Here is what nobody says out loud. You are not falling apart. You are exceptional at appearing okay. And that is precisely the problem. You have been so good at holding it together for so long that you can no longer tell the difference between holding it together and disappearing. This feeling has a name, and it did not start this year. It did not start with your job or your relationship or anything you can point to. It started in a house where emotions were never spoken about, where you learned very early that the real version of you was not entirely welcome, and you have been performing ever since. The hollowness you feel now is not depression, it is distance. The distance between who you actually are and who you taught yourself to be. Research suggests this touches roughly 1 in 3 adults. 1 in 3. That is someone sitting next to you right now. Maybe you. You go through the motions. You say everything is fine. And you used to mean it. There was a time when fine actually meant fine. When the coffee tasted like something. When a Friday evening felt like relief. Now, you are not sure what fine even means anymore. Here is where it gets uncomfortable. When the noise stops, when the phone goes dark, when the TV is off and you are finally alone in a quiet room, something happens in your brain. There is a network called the default mode network. It activates in those exact moments. When you are not distracted, not performing, not busy, just alone with yourself. And it asks one question, over and over. Is this life actually mine? Do these choices belong to me? Or am I running a program someone else wrote? Research found something that should alarm every high-functioning person listening. When your daily actions drift too far from your actual values, your mental health does not slowly decline. It quietly collapses from the inside. Not with a breakdown, with a slow, invisible erosion of vitality that you feel long before anyone can see it. And people who were taught as children that love depended on performance, on being good, being quiet, being useful, carry that hollow feeling into every room they ever enter. Because the goal was never theirs. It was inherited. And an inherited life, no matter how successful, will always feel like someone else's. The achievement is real. The emptiness is real too. They coexist. This emptiness is not a flaw. It is not weakness. It is a signal. Your own mind, telling you the life you built, does not fit the person living it. But here is what makes this harder, and what makes it worth staying until the end. This did not start with your job, or your relationship, or this year. It started much earlier, long before you had the words to describe it, and the people responsible never meant to hurt you. You were a child who learned something no child should have to learn. That the real version of you was not welcome. Not in a dramatic way. Not with shouting or cruelty. In small, repeated, ordinary moments. When you were told to stop crying. Because your sadness made the adults uncomfortable. When your excitement was too much. Too loud. When you realized that being quiet and easy and good earned you love. And being yourself did not. So you did what every smart, survival-driven child does. You adapted. The psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott called this the false self. A version of you built not from who you actually are, but from what kept you safe. Kept you approved of. Kept the peace. That version saved your life. It got you through childhood. It got you promotions. It got you relationships. But here is the cost nobody tells you about. When you spend decades performing a version of yourself, you stop knowing where the performance ends, and you begin. You forget what you actually like. Because for so long, you liked what you were supposed to like. You wanted what you were supposed to want. You felt what you were supposed to feel. And that gap, that space between who you are and who you pretend to be, that is where the emptiness lives. Not in your circumstances. Not in your bank account. In the distance between yourself and yourself. And that distance is the longest distance a human being can travel. Because you cannot walk toward yourself if you no longer know who yourself is. And you should be angry about this. You should be furious that a child was taught to abandon themselves. That a 6-year-old learned that love was conditional on performance. That the most natural thing in the world, being yourself, was treated as an inconvenience. You have every right to be angry. But instead, you turned that anger inward and called it emptiness. Here is the part that is hardest to hear. You built this life. Not by accident. Not because you were weak. You built it because you are extremely skilled at reading rooms. At sensing what people need from you. At becoming the version of yourself that makes everyone comfortable. You are a chameleon. And you have been so successful at it that you forgot chameleons do not actually have a color of their own. You know exactly what your boss needs you to be, what your partner needs you to be, what your parents need you to be. But somewhere along the way, you stopped consulting yourself. And the people who love you, they reinforced it. Every single day. Not because they are cruel. Because they cannot see what you are hiding. When they say you are so strong, they are praising the mask. When they say you always have it together, they are admiring the performance. When they say they do not know how you do it all, they are celebrating the very thing that is making you disappear. And the cruelest part? Praising someone for their composure during distress actually deepens their disconnection from their own feelings. They hear the compliment, and they resolve to keep performing. Because now, there is an audience expecting it. So you keep waiting. For circumstances to change. For the day it will finally feel real. But that day is a story you are telling yourself to survive the current one. It is not coming. Because the problem is not your circumstances. The problem is that you are living inside a life built for someone who does not exist. You are not being strong. You are being erased. Slowly, quietly, and with your own permission. Let that land for a moment. Do not rush past it. Just let it sit there. I will wait. 3 questions. Answer them honestly. Not out loud. Just honestly. 1. If nobody was watching, if there were no consequences, no disappointed faces, what would you change about your life today? Not what should you change. What would you actually change? 2. What does the genuinely alive version of you allow themselves to do that you do not? What did you give up? What part of yourself did you shelve because it was inconvenient for someone else? And 3. How long have you been pretending this version of your life is enough? How many mornings? How many years? If you love someone who feels this way, stop telling them how strong they are. Because fine is sometimes the most exhausted word in the English language. It is a door that shuts the conversation down. It is a performance that says, do not look closer. Try asking instead, what is actually going on with you lately? Honestly. And then, sit with whatever answer comes. Without fixing it. Without reassuring them. Just let it be real for once. Because the loneliest thing about smiling depression is performing okay for people who never think to question it. So what now? You cannot think your way out of this. You cannot read enough books or watch enough videos or achieve enough things to fill a void that was never about achievement in the first place. But there are things that work. Not quick fixes. Not motivational nonsense. Real things. Start by noticing. Without fixing anything. Once a day, ask yourself what you are actually feeling. Not what you should feel. Not what looks good on paper. Just what is actually there. It might be anger you swallowed years ago. It might be grief for a life you never got to live. It might be nothing. And that nothing is still worth noticing. Because here is what research shows. The simple act of naming an emotion, even silently, reduces its intensity by nearly half. You do not need to solve the feeling. You need to stop hiding from it. What you resist, persists. And what you refuse to name, controls you from the dark. Then, recover one small thing. Not a new hobby. Not another achievement to chase. Something you loved before you learned to perform. A song you used to play on repeat. A walk with no destination. A way of moving through the world that was yours before it belonged to everyone else. That thing is not gone. It is buried. Under years of being the person everyone else needed you to be. Dig it out. Even if it feels small. Even if it feels silly. It matters. Because it is evidence that the real you is still in there. Then, tell one person one small truth. Not the whole story. Not a confession. One honest sentence. I am not okay. I do not know who I am anymore. I have been pretending for a long time. Whatever is true. The body literally relaxes when you stop pretending. Even a little. Even once. Something that has been clenched for years begins to let go. One person. One truth. That is where the crack in the mask begins. And the hardest one, stop rewarding yourself for hiding. Your entire life, you have been rewarded for composure. For a stab. You are still here. In a video about feeling empty, you chose to stay. For nearly 15 minutes. And that tells me something important. The hollow part of you, the part that feels nothing, is not the broken part. It is the healthiest part of you. It is the part that knows the truth. That knows this life does not fit. That knows you were not made to merely endure. That emptiness is not your enemy. It is your compass. It has been pointing you towards something real, and you have been running the opposite direction because the real thing is terrifying. The real thing means disappointing people. The real thing means uncertainty. But safe is not the same as alive. Adaptation kept you alive, but adaptation can be unlearned. So here is the choice. Not a dramatic one. Not a movie moment. Do you keep performing, or do you begin the slow, imperfect, real work of coming back to yourself? Or do you simply sit here, for once, and actually let yourself feel this? Not fix it. Not analyze it. Not push through it. Just feel it. Because the one thing you have never done, the one thing the false self was built to prevent, is to simply feel what is actually there. And rebuilding a life that is actually yours starts with one quiet moment of honesty. One moment where you stop performing, stop being fine, and just are. That is where it begins. If this described you, or someone you love, share it with them. Sometimes the right words are the ones we cannot say ourselves. If you want more like this, subscribe. This channel is for people who think deeply and feel quietly. And if nobody has told you today, you are allowed to stop being okay. That is not weakness. That is the beginning of something real.